Hello, hello. Welcome to the Plasma Implementers call number 23, Michael Jordan. This is going to be an exciting call. We've got, not only do we have the, a PLIP number 1 draft. So for those who don't know, one of the things that we talked about on a prior call was this like PLIP concept thing, and essentially it's just an EIP, but for Plasma, so that we can like talk about ideas and work through them in a kind of more organized way. And so not only do we have that, but we also have another PLIP draft from Peter and a bunch of like very cool things that were talked about in the call for topics, like predicate notation and a universal Plasma DSL. So we have a lot to go over. Very exciting. Why don't we start off with some updates on what different teams have been doing with your implementations. Crypto Economics Lab, you want to start?
Sure.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, sure. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Our state update. First, make deposit standard contract by forking PG deposit contract. And next, NFT made NFT deposit contract.
Should we share the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the paste link.
Oh yeah. We should paste this Zoom and chat here. This is the standard deposit standard. I just paste the link to.
Yeah. And next,
okay.
NFT deposit contract.
Oh, very cool.
So
we can also post all of the things in the later.
Okay.
Okay. NFT deposit contract and made path checkpoint and exit on that deposit standard. And next.
So those are the implementation that we have done after last implementer's call. And the next thing that we want to mention is we created a notation. We attempted to create a notation to how to design all the predicate, distribution logics, so that we can communicate with other research teams more efficiently and more easily. And that's, do you want to add something on that?
Yes, and so I think by using this notation, we can complex predicate to.
We can generalize complex predicates and break it into more little pieces of predicates, and we can standardize that how to do it.
Yes.
Yeah, and we also design swap predicate, and we just thought up how to swap.
Yeah,
how to swap each participant ranges in a safe way simultaneously. Like,
but this swap is a bit different, like.
Given that the two participants are online.
Got it.
That's what we have done this week.
Cool.
Yes,
thank you. Productive. My goodness. Matic?
Yeah. So Arpit actually is working on Plasma. He's in traveling, so behalf of him, so we are actually working on multiple things. One is like NFT minting on sidechain, Plasma chain. Just you're going to deposit some NFTs, you can just mint on the Plasma chain and exit with it, like LibDAO is doing something similar. Second thing, we have been working on the bonded exits. So basically, you need to put some bond to start an exit, so people can challenge and get like challenge and challenge period, and if they are wrong, they get money, something like that. Then we actually implemented collective NFTs. So let's say if you have like 10 CryptoKitties and you want to deposit simultaneously, you can actually be implementing those to allow multiple NFTs simultaneously to deposit into the Plasma chain. And last thing, we actually figuring out the spec for fees predicates, how we can actually collect the fees from the Plasma chain, and so let's say if you have like one operator, or let's say you have like multiple operators, like proof of stakes kind of system, how we can actually provide a way to distribute the fees using predicates. So yeah, I mean, we are actually working on spec right now, but in the like next call maybe we can discuss on detail on the fees predicate. So yeah, that's it.
Cool. That's awesome. Leverage?
Sure, I can go next. So as I had mentioned, I guess a couple of calls back, because I missed the last one, we've been working on essentially taking the Gluon Plasma spec and making it work for the derivatives use case. We're still working on that. Good progress, but we haven't really hit a milestone, so to speak. Work continues. The other work we're doing on is supporting essentially multiple apps, if you may. So the multiple apps on the same chain. I think I may have shared some of that even back when we were talking at EdCon time, but again, it's been very design level. We haven't really built or coded anything yet, so I think that's probably the next one. The other thing worth reporting is, because we realized that what Matic is building is very close to how Gluon Plasma is, which is kind of interesting. As we start reading more of their spec, there's a lot of commonalities. So we certainly also explored some of that, and we'll continue to explore if we can somehow merge some of those specs. And again, all merging is good. So if we can move towards some account-based Plasma standard, which others can also benefit from, then we definitely want to go in that direction. That's all that's worth reporting. We have also been a little, team with our own personal vacations and everything going on in the summer. So I think a week or two hasn't been as productive also as we like it to. So that's all for now.
Sounds great. Sounds pretty productive anyway. Plasma Group?
Sure. Oh yeah. Oh right. That's us.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So what has Plasma Group been working on since the last call? A few things. One of the big ones is block production. So we now have a working on and off-chain implementation of an interval tree, which allows us to serve these efficient exclusion proofs over ranges of Plasma Cash coins. So that's pretty cool. I think we should turn it into a PLIP actually pretty soon, because we have this interesting double tree architecture. I think we've talked about it in the past that this would probably allow you to create sort of a meta aggregator. So like, take the operator implementations across a few Plasma chains, and you could in theory run them. And with this block structure, you could produce blocks for all of them with one commitment in a pretty useful standard way. So that's been cool. What else have we been working on? Continue to work on our sort of client-side implementations, ingesting transactions and spitting them into blocks. Yeah, and we've had some very cool research as well that's similar to the predicate notation stuff actually. So maybe we'll save it for that discussion, but I'm excited to talk. So that's us.
Sounds great. Matter Inc.
Yep. So now my general purpose is to see what the status of all kind of plasmas and try to make the standard and combine all the things at one generalized flow, so we can speak in the same language and probably build binaries that can interact each other with the plasmas, or like layer one solutions with the plasma, so we can easily connect different kind of layers each other. So this is one point that I now take a research, and I see what the status of different kind of groups who is working on this. So I already create the new topic like PLIP with the some some kind of my thoughts how we can standardize these things. And the second thing that I would like to go deeper is that we discussed a couple of calls before, is how we can build the validity proofs and fix exit games in Plasma Cache. So like Alex Vlasov says that he already built the snark that can do this. So actually we need just to implement and bind it with the Plasma Cache. So that's another thing that I would like to do next week.
Cool, amazing. Unless there are burning topics, it sounds like there are three kind of big things. One of them is I like the PLIP one, just to the kind of like organizational thing that we should talk about. The other one is the Peter's PLIP on the universal plasma DSL, and the kind of like predicate notation stuff there. So unless there are any burning things that people want to talk about, I'll maybe go onto the PLIPs repository and take a look at PLIP 1 and see if there's any feedback that y'all have. What have people had a chance to read this thing? I know Crypto Economics Lab folks were all over this. Pretty great. So I'll quickly share my screen. That seems like the right one. Okay, cool. So there's this PLIPs repository. The purpose is just to kind of like aid in the merging of all the plasmas, as this has seemed to be a common theme recently. And essentially this first PLIP is just taken from EIP1. And there's actually quite a bit of stuff here. And so that is definitely a consideration, because the EIPs have evolved over a long time, and like this has been like a living EIP, right? EIP1 has like information from like the multiple years that Ethereum has been around. But interestingly, there's this like concept of the different PLIP types. There's like the standard PLIPs, there's meta PLIPs, informational PLIPs. Everyone's familiar with the ERC, like ERC20, and so this is PRC instead of Ethereum request for comments, Plasma request for comments. Basically the same kind of stuff as Ethereum has, however for Plasma. And there's basically, you submit one of these drafts just like Peter did. He created a great one, actually, just like this one is. This is also a draft, and we need some people to think about if there are any changes they'd like to see. And then essentially you just we will accept these PLIPs, I guess, and hopefully people can use them as a guiding a guide for what to implement, and their implementation. So hopefully all of the like major components we actually like submit as PLIPs, so we can get better feedback on every design decision that we decide to make. Also, one of the things that I am interested in is there are currently no PLIP editors, right? So there in the EIP repository, there's a long list of all the different EIP editors. And right now there are no PLIP editors. It's a very sad state of affairs. And so we should definitely figure out, if someone would like to become an EIP editor, a EIP editor, a PLIP editor, then please post about it. And it's hot competition though, so you're gonna you have to be really good. Anyway. So any questions, comments, concerns about this approach or this particular PLIP? Very curious to hear.
So just a couple of things. I like the fact that you put it in a nice structured way. That's a great start. So thank you for doing that. The question, of course, that pops at me is that, when everything is going smoothly and, making good decisions and moving forward, I think nobody's going to complain. Actually, everyone will be more than happy, right? Points where it becomes sticky and troublesome is where there's disagreement. So the question will be, how will we resolve those, right? Like if we put some sort of a framework for how we'll resolve it, either we all vote for it or something, we set a time to it or something like that. I think that would give it a little bit more method to the madness. Other than that, I feel everything is fantastic. So just my 2 cents there.
Great. Yeah, that is a very good point. And it doesn't seem that they have any like real resolution stuff in the, yeah. Wow. Okay. Great point. Okay. So let me like, well, I'll take a note of that right now. Cool. So add resolution guidelines.
Another thing that it might be worth at least thinking about is like trying to understand where EIPs have like served Ethereum well and where they haven't. And I'm not really sure the answer to that. Like I'm not super like active checking the Ethereum GitHub, but you know, definitely like Carl, you talked about this document on the Ethereum side having changed over time. But I'm curious like what their takeaways are and like, you know, maybe like we should do a bit more research there. The other thing is that I like, in the past, there were talks to compare that we should, as examples of layer 2 sort of equivalents of this, there's like bolts in Lightning, as well as RFCs and Interledger, which are both, from my understanding, up to par, or a lot of people like them. So it might be worth considering whether we should pull in some of those concepts as well. I'm not sure how different or similar they are, but those are my thoughts. Yeah.
Cool. That's a great point. Great. Well, I will adjust, and then we can figure out how this thing will be merged, considering the no PLIP editors. We need a PLIP editor before we can merge this first PLIP. Anyway, great.
One quick question.
Sure.
In the PLIP types column, there's thing called core improvements which affect the core OVM. And what is optimistic visual machine?
This is a great question. So it was basically in the what's it called, Cornell workshops in Ithaca. We realized that there's this like concept that has been around for a while called like optimistic execution, and in fact there's basically a few blog posts by Vitalik talking about how you can do this optimistic execution. And it turns out that optimistic execution is just like a really nice way to say like kind of plasma execution in some ways. It also works for the context that Vitalik was talking about, which is optimistic execution between shards. And so this OVM is just basically a broad term for like a some kind of thing that optimistically executes code. And this is definitely something that like all of our Plasma implementations are doing, right? They are optimistically executing some pieces of code, if that makes some sense. Yeah. I totally forgot that I had. Sorry.
I want to ask one more thing regarding OVM. Carl and Ben suggested to Vitalik Buterin regarding the OVM related layer 2 smart contract solution for the, how should I say, layer 2, it is coined, but actually it is run on layer 1, sharding related. It's like a cross shard problem solution. Plasma idea is compatible for the Vitalik idea.
Yes. This is actually a great point. So Vitalik recently put, easy research. I don't know. Vitalik recently put out a post. I don't know if I'm going to be able to find it, where essentially you can find it at some point, where you use basically Plasma-like constructions or Plasma type ideas in ETH2 to solve a lot of the big problems with ETH2. And this is something that we had basically realized in Ithaca. Ben and I were like thinking about this. Oh, how do we, how does ETH2 fit in with Plasma? And it actually turns out that ETH2 is very compatible with Plasma, and that Plasma may even be a requirement for ETH2 phase 2. Is a kind of like sneaking suspicion that we feel, and so this is like hopefully this will make, this will be an accelerant for Plasma adoption as well as Plasma kind of like research. And so that is the kind of like general hope. And so like having a kind of
hopefully everyone will learn Plasma for utilizing closed-shard execution, right?
Yeah, basically. Exactly. Because Plasma is the best. I think everyone here can agree.
That is correct.
You've heard it here first, folks. Great. That's
like there is a meta question about like what kind of things we can name Plasma, for example, like roll up, for example. Is it it's kind of Plasma or like Ignis Plasma? So this is a related things. It's like scaling, but is there some definition like what we can say is it Plasma or not? Like something with the exit gains. So, or have you got some ideas about this?
It's tough. It's definitely a very tough question. Like you talk about rollup, and it's funny because we just had this post on Plasma Build, how whatever a month ago or whatever it was now, talking about the ideas of how you can do a rollup but somehow still use the Plasma dispute logic, right? And you're like rolling up exits. So it's very tough. The line is very blurry, and this is why Carl and I, like colloquial now, have been saying OVM so often, because it seems like it's really hard to describe exactly what is Plasma and what is not, but like there's this broader class that we think is just optimistic execution, and that's why we had OVM there in that, because we really think that that's like a more accurate term to describe the broader class of things that are doing Plasma-like stuff. Yeah. So I can tell you what I think is Plasma and what is not. But the problem is that no one necessarily agrees, and that's like not necessarily a very meaningful question. Like the real interesting thing is what are these systems actually doing, and yeah, they're optimistically executing some state transitions.
So what is your definition?
Oh, here we go. Okay, I mean, I would say that Plasma particularly is when you have off-chain commitments. So when some decisions are reached with off-chain data that serves an inclusion proof of a commit or a witness to a commitment of on-chain data. So that would be my definition. But everyone's a little different, and maybe that's even wrong, because I think like some of the cross-shard stuff, maybe we call it Plasma. I don't really know. But I think if you're going to be like a Plasma purist, you have to have some off-chain state that's committed to on Ethereum, and then we achieve finality on some extra piece of state by downloading some witness.
So let's make a Plasma PLIP and discuss this thing. And
oh, that's a great idea.
Actually, it's a good idea, like to define what is and what isn't.
Yep, I think that's an information.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of informational. Yeah.
Okay, great.
That's right.
Yeah.
Cool.
Someone's got it.
It'll be a Plasma informational PLIP, which is known as a PLIP.
Yeah, we'll definitely want to separate my doubts that I mentioned in the previous call and put it to PLIP. So great things. Thank you, Carol. It's very structured and cool. Nice.
Woohoo! Okay, sounds good. Should we go to this other PLIP that exists? Someday these calls will just be going through the greatest PLIPs. I bet that must, anyway, that seems reasonable. Okay. Peter, do you want to actually go through? You can actually share your screen if you want.
Yeah, so, okay, let's do this. So you have to stop the sharing and I will. Wait a second. I miss Zoom in my screens. Okay, I will start. Like what I would like to specify the basic thing, like the common things that all the Plasma systems has, like deposit, transfers, some maybe different kind of transfers, and exit games, like normal withdrawal and exit games. And that's what I would like to ask you guys, like what kind of common things you think we need to specify there. Like I will share screen now, and you can go through.
Oh, great. Oh, fun. We have a preview of another post. Oh, don't abandon necessarily.
Wait, no, that's fine. It's adjusted. It's some typos. So like, if we want to build like some DSL with API, so it should be definitely some deposit, exits, challenge, like verify the history if it's like a Plasma cache or like just transaction verification that is correct. If someone want to make a proof that he already did some transactions, don't wait for big computations, long computations off chain. So I really like how Crypto Economics Labs specify all the things. So they have a framework based on Rust. They have a actually I put it like examples the description of Crypto Economics Rust there. So feel free to add your one. So I can't go into any kind of repositories at the same time, but yes, just add comments and let's discuss together like what kind of things we want to make, like share it, like all the Plasmas had the same thing. I know the Matic like almost ready for production, so I would like to hear like your thoughts about it.
Thanks for having the reference to us.
Yeah, I can share like here is the Plasma chamber architecture, and I would like to specify like basic things of API in this layer of different kind of layers, so we can share the same API for all the reference. Yep, so here it is. Like feel free to add the comments, and I will specify it like a PLIP so we can discuss it for the next call. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, I definitely have ideas. Just at least with like being able to reference different resolution, like different predicates, so you know that in this Plasma chain something was resolved to some value, and in this Plasma chain something was resolved to that value, and then you can kind of like use those links to then have some level of like cross Plasma chain interoperability. But I don't even like the term cross Plasma chain interoperability, because I think that all the Plasma chains are really one Plasma chain, and it's all just the this it's all living in Ethereum, so it's all one thing. But the way that we can enable that being all one thing is by making sure that these APIs are accessible. So the resolution of disputes is accessible to all the different chains. Or I used the word chain again. I didn't mean to.
Yeah. Another thing that I would like to specify. So actually, it's better to build it based on like TypeScript or Rust, so we can build it on WASP and run all our clients or mobiles, for example, from web browsers. So I just wondering, is there someone use some other languages, not C++ or Rust or TypeScript? So it looks like it's just a common thing that all of us is using. So that wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah, so I just would like to mention it as well, so we can port it to WASM in the same way.
Cool.
Yep. Thank you.
All right. So I am actually curious if this true that everyone is using TypeScript or Rust? Is that because I know that we write a lot of stuff in TypeScript.
Yeah, we actually don't use TypeScript, but like we want to move to the TypeScript soon. And also we actually currently use Go instead of Rust. But yeah, I mean, we are also going in the future, maybe, yeah, some services will use the Rust also. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think that writing it in multiple languages, like having Go, is like super great.
Just for your information, I want to share our insight. We tried to implement our Plasma child chain with Elixir, but connecting with the front end is very difficult because running Elixir on the front end is kind of very hard work. Then we shift to Rust because it's very easy to run on every other.
So Omnis Go, as far as I remember, they tried to build it all on Elixir. Is it right? But
you said
to tell the truth,
you said Omisa Go?
yes.
Yeah, I think so. They do Elixir.
So they build their first MVP on Elixir. So it's kind of good reference how to build it. To tell the truth, my team can't build it at all, so I don't know what the status of project now. Is someone know about?
Yeah, I think they have at least their wallet stuff is released, and I believe all on Elixir. I haven't checked out that side of their code recently, but I don't think they're like planning to ship from Elixir anytime soon. I don't know. I wish we had one of them on the call right now, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I once tried out their wallet launched on testnet, but it didn't really work properly at that time. But I don't know what's happening right now. Yeah, I don't know the current update, but yeah.
Well, I'm sure they've done some great bug fixing since then, and that it runs very smoothly. You know, we gotta support them when they don't have a rep there to fight back. You know.
Yeah, I'm really personally I'm really good friend with Andy, who's researcher at Music.
Yeah.
He told me how to install the wallets, and yeah,
Super cool.
Yeah, I think they have some like Elixir gurus there though, so I think the language hurdle is not a problem for them, but certainly I could imagine it being one. Cool. Crypto Economics Lab. Do you want to talk about any like the predicate logic? That was the only other thing that we're missing on our
predicate logic.
agenda.
Specifically on swap one or
so
whatever you guys want to talk about.
Yeah, exactly.
This notation looks very cool.
Notation is yeah. I want to talk about
he
notation.
really wanted to talk about it with you guys.
Great.
Maybe you know I send the link or no.
Yeah, you can share your screen, or I can open it up if you want me to.
Oh, here. You want to share the screen here?
Wait a moment.
Yeah, just a moment. Okay.
Yeah,
there.
the one we find it.
Chrome?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Presidential private.
I love the highlighted OVM. Tell your friends.
Okay, here we go.
Predicate notation version 2. So the first we start to design the notation for just share the predicate easily to as a researcher. But now more interesting. I found more interesting thing. So I defined two things. First is distribution scheme. Distribution scheme is to prove the validity of the state. So such as Plasma has distribution scheme, so and kernel has another distribution scheme. And distribution scheme takes the time, such as exit period. Exit period. So dispute period. And second, I define the deprecation logic. And deprecation logic is to prove the duplicate of state. So, and distribution scheme has the deprecation logic, and I think deprecation logic can be the combined with the and logic operator, for example, such as the and or. So, for example, phi predicate. So in phi predicate, if you develop the phi predicate as one predicate, for example, transfer, Alice send the point to Bob, and the phi is 0.1%, for example.
Yeah.
1%. So we should prove the prove phi and prove duplication. This is combined by AND operator. So in this case, we can separate into two predicates, and we can parallel exit.
Oh yeah, parallel
This
exit.
is changed to convert to parallel exit. So please imagine the more complex case. So for example, simple swap predicate. I think simple swap predicate has a little bit complex logic. So prove duplication and prove inclusion, or sorry, no, not over. Sorry, this is not good. This is not good example. So sorry. Text predicate. So text predicate has sorry. Text predicate has more more complex logic. So prove deprecation and finalize exit or duplicate of corresponding state update. So in this case, we use the three predicates, three more general predicate, and we can split into three more atomic predicates. This is
so in short, saying that we can break down break a complex smart contract into like multiple different simpler predicates, little pieces, and
yes. So the key point is for if the predicate has the two deprecation logic with AND operator, it can be converted to OR operator with another distribution logic.
So it's like De Morgan's law in logic.
De Morgan's.
Yeah, De Morgan.
Do you guys have like any questions? I think we should take questions.
Yeah, I have one question, which is, what is the confirmation in the simple swap predicate? Maybe you said it's bad, but I'm curious. Is that like the person, once they swapped, signing away with the post swap?
Sorry.
He's asking what is confirmation signature.
Confirmation signature is just same as confirmation signature. So sorry. Confirmation signature.
It's a confirmation. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
After getting a conditional state that claiming that A wants to swap range with B wants to swap his range with A, then they can send a confirmation signature to each other, and having both of the signatures, then they can actually deprecate the exit
without
without
doing the two exits.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That's similar to the swap the way we think about swaps for sure.
Yep.
Yeah, this is cool. This is like definitely something that I think we've been like realizing that we're doing like no matter what, you know, whether or not you express it in this language, like this is effectively what we do when we design more complex predicates, and definitely like having standardization around that is super helpful. We definitely have some thoughts on how to standardize stuff too, and so excited to collab there. Your theorem with the and or is very interesting. I'm a fan of this sort of logic, a theorem for predicates. Very spicy.
Yeah, definitely like, you know, Ben is a very math background, and so we've been thinking about these predicates from, you know, from something that is very similar to this. So when we saw your post here, we were like, oh, I see. You know, like we're not so far apart. So this is very good, and we should talk about it soon. We're gonna like. We're still formulating certain thoughts to kind of like put it all together in a very cohesive package so that we can all use like and describe these systems way better. But this is 100% like this is very cool.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I'm a big fan of this.
Yeah,
It's
big
awesome.
fan.
Thank you very much.
We can keep updating our status on Plasma
Yeah,
Build
so
or
actually this is a very hot take. So
Hot take, yeah.
I found this today, so I wanna update. I should update more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Cool.
Michael?
Drago wants to add something.
One more thing I want to share that I have a friend, Gabriel. He's come from Tezos actually, but he's very good at Plasma, and he's very interested in PG spec actually. And I'm not teaching about PG spec to Gabriel. And Gabriel also has math background, and he's now trying to make that formalize by using epistemic model logic. I don't know much about that, but epistemic model logic is about logic for the what I am knowing and what you're, that kind of knowledge logic. And he's now formalizing Plasma by using that logic. And if there is some progress, I will share that one here. And rather, I will invite Gabriel here. And it will be bridge
Awesome.
of the team and Ethereum by using the physics spec. Because physics spec is very general. It will overwhelm other things as well, I think. Yeah.
Hey.
Awesome. That's
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah, this is definitely the future.
Yeah.
And so it is exciting to hear that y'all are on the same kind of thinking that we are.
Yep, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds like one more PLIP is coming.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
I mean, maybe a number of flips. You know?
Probably a lot. Yeah.
Which
This is
should we
exciting
post?
times. Honestly, this is like some of the most exciting times for Plasma, I would say. This will be great.
Which section should we post this kind of stuff to?
I mean, plasma.build is definitely a great place. And you know, and we can also you know, feel free to message us on Telegram, and we can chat about this stuff because it's fun. Coolio. All right. Any other kind of thoughts that y'all have? Any final things you would like to talk about or discuss? Or is everyone happy, satisfied, and feeling good?
Yeah.
Like,
So
okay, one more question. Like, what like kind of what of status of wallets? If someone has a wallet that we can try to use on testnet, some kind of plasmas, can you give you updates about your roadmap about? Because I am wondering to build some reference validation of wallet that will be compatible with different kind of plasma. Maybe we can collaborate with someone who working on the same thing.
Yeah.
I saw on Crypto Economics Labs there is a wallet repository, but I didn't check it. So maybe you can give some comments about this.
Yeah, we have a wallet implementation that we're working on, and I think everyone who has a Plasma implementation has to, basically build the wallet. Question is like, how do we standardize those wallets so that they can talk to each other on like a kind of unified platform? And so that's a good question. But I think that actually what we're talking about with like just generally, I think that we're going to kind of start converging on designs because there are only so many designs that make sense. And so I'm actually quite hopeful in terms of compatibility.
We have implemented a simple transfer app before on testnet, launched on testnet. And are you working on more generalized version of that right now?
Yes, so as I say that I would like to make a DSL so we can bind our libraries to, so I want to make it independent so any kind of wallet can interact with different kind of plasmas. But yes, I would like to check what kind of wallets, for example, we have now and how we can build one common rules, how they will interact each other. Probably, I don't know, is it possible or not? So, but I will do research on this.
Okay, we can share a link to it or share any information of it so that contribute to each other with each other.
Yeah, we are working on the Android client and browser client and also Linux or more micro computers. So because we are using Rust. So yeah, so please let's collaborate.
Yeah.
Hey, Yuriko,
Yes.
do you know how far? Hi guys.
Hi.
Do you know how far along Omisego is with their wallet implementation?
Oh, which implementation did you say? Misa goes.
The Omisego wallet.
Not sure, but I can definitely ask one of my friends there and get you
Yeah,
back.
I think probably of all of us, they're probably the farthest along. It'd be really great to know when we could have something to play with. That'd be pretty dope.
Okay, perfect. I'll
Yeah.
share you information later. Like in a public place if you want.
Yeah, also, is Omisego invited to this call, Carl?
Yep.
Yeah.
They're just fans.
Okay.
But they're gonna FOMO in. Don't worry. There is no question.
I can ping Andy next time in 2 weeks.
Yeah,
that would be
nice.
dope. Yeah, we should get them on this call.
Okay.
So as I see, the wallet update just 2 hours ago on GitHub, so looks like something goes.
Hey, nice.
Cool. Any final thoughts?
I have. Regarding wallet, Janti, are you there? Okay.
Yeah.
I know that Matic is creating wallet connect based wallet, right?
Yes.
And how far is it name changed? I'm not sure the name changed from wallet connect to other.
No, it's a Wallet Connect right now. So we just created Wallet Connect 2.0.
Is there any chance that integrate that wallet connect wallet with the PG spec or something other?
Sorry?
Is there any chance to integrate your wallet connect to the PG spec or other? Because I know you're contributing to the wallet connect and it's very, very interesting wallet actually.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, if you see like plasma chains, multiple plasma chains, you don't want to use MetaMask or some other extensions, right? So for that, you can use like Wallet Connect kind of wallet with Wallet Connect, and you can sign on multiple chains simultaneously. So it's very user friendly for normal users. Yeah.
have you ever planned to apply Matic to the MetaMask or something that Chrome extension wallet?
I mean, you can do that, but the problem is that user has to like change the network when they let's say they want to deposit tokens on the Plasma chains. They need to go to the mainnet or Opston, and then after deposit they have to change the network and do the signing, etc. So it's not very intuitive for normal users, and people actually find it very confusing. So we just use like Wallet Connect kind of direct. So we just removed wallet MetaMask options once and for all from our wallet, and use just Wallet Connect on Plasma. Yeah.
Yeah, I also have some insights that if we generalize wallet implementation for Plasma, it will be up for it because the browser embedded wallet is very dangerous for the security reason, and a MetaMask type wallet is somehow tough job. And yeah, mobile app is much better, I feel so. Yeah, I wanted to share that insight now here. Yeah.
Yeah, we can actually standardize the Wallet Connect APIs for Plasma, so anyone can use those APIs and have like seamless experience on Wallet Connect using multiple Plasma chains, and people don't need to interact with MetaMask in that case. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Janti.
Cool. Alrighty. Well, seems like we covered a lot of stuff, and there's going to be a lot more to cover next time. Everyone, don't forget to write your PLIPs. And I guess let's talk very soon. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.